Overtourism is destroying Japan's most treasured destinations. It's not about overcrowding, it's about the way tourism is being managed, or rather, mismanaged. As a Japanese tour guide, I take pride in sharing my culture with visitors and helping them experience Japan in a respectful and meaningful way. But recently, I visited Matsushima, one of Japan's most scenic and culturally significant sites, and what I saw left me deeply concerned. Instead of serenity, I encountered chaos. Large tour groups flooded the area, disrupting the peace, with guides shouting over each other and visitors treating cultural sites in ways that made me uncomfortable. And let me tell you, this isn't about blaming tourists. Many visitors are respectful and genuinely curious about Japanese culture. The real issue lies with how large tour companies operate, prioritizing numbers over quality experiences and cultural respect. Today, I want to discuss why this is a problem and what we can do to protect Japan's heritage. Let's get into it. When I first arrived in Matsushima, the crowd struck me before I could fully appreciate its beauty. It's one of Japan's most scenic spots, so I expected some crowds, but it's not the easiest place to reach. It's in western Miyagi, so it's a 5-hour drive from Tokyo. What I didn't expect was the sheer influx of tourists arriving all at once, pouring off boats in massive groups. At first, I was just surprised at how popular Matsushima is. Okay guys, this place is beautiful, but it is crazy. It's packed with foreign tourists, like groups of tourists. Wow. But things took a turn as I explored further. When I walked towards Zuiganji's Godaido, my initial impression was replaced by discomfort. You guys, this island is absolutely beautiful with all these pine trees and the waters between the islands. The reflection on the waters is like so sparkly and it's just so beautiful. The only problem is that there are a lot of tourists, like foreign tourists in big groups. These people in group tours are very loud, and please note that it is a Zen place, it is a spiritual place, so if you're ever at a temple or shrine, please be respectful, because I've seen a lot of tourists that are very loud and like banging the bells of the temple and stuff, so that's not right. Please don't do that. Thank you. Large groups clustered around the temples, with guides shouting instructions to make themselves heard. This was happening right beside a temple hall, a place meant for quiet reflection. It didn't stop there. Once the guide finished speaking, the group moved on to praying. But instead of respectful prayer, I witnessed something completely different. The visitors turned it into a game, competing to see who can ring the bell the hardest. Grown adults, not teenagers, were cheering and laughing as one man hit the bell really hard. I gasped. This wasn't just a cultural misunderstanding. It felt like a lack of guidance and leadership from the tour operators. Shockingly, when the bell thing was happening, the guide was right there, laughing with them. I feel like the problem with these group tours is that there's, a sudden surge of people when the bus arrives. And also there's one tour guide who is explaining the history and stuff, which is important. But because the group is big, he has to speak in loud voices, and they do that right in front of the temple. So I do tours myself, and I try to keep it less people. I mean, it is mostly private tours anyway, so it's just for the one group. It's usually 2, 3, maximum 5 people. And yeah, I don't do it right in front of the temple usually. I try to step aside a bit so that I don't annoy other people. With these group tours, the tour guide really needs to emphasize about the fact that the customers need to respect that it's a Zen place and not be too loud around these spaces. And also the tour guide probably needs to get a speaker, a microphone and earphones, so that the tour guide can just speak into the microphone and people will hear it in their ears without the tour guide speaking too loudly. So I really do hope that these large tour companies care about other people a bit, so that they don't destroy this nice peaceful place. I do think that maybe Kyoto is experiencing the same thing. That's why there's a problem of overtourism and the locals are very annoyed about it. So it's not just Matsushima, but I hope that these large tour groups do something about it, hopefully. The Matsushima experience left me reflecting on how large group tours operate in Japan. But unfortunately, this wasn't an isolated case. Recently, I had a similar experience in Asakusa, one of Tokyo's most iconic and busiest destinations. As I passed through the famous Thunder Gate, I noticed a tour guide was using a speaker to provide his explanations. In the previous clip in Matsushima, I talked about how the tour guides could use like a microphone and visitors put earphones on so that only the participants could hear the explanations. But this tour in Asakusa, they decided to conduct their tour with speakers so that the whole world can hear. Now, I understand the need to make oneself heard in a busy place, but this was already inside the temple grounds, a sacred place where people come to pray and reflect. I can only hope that they didn't use the speaker near the main hall, where the atmosphere should remain serene and respectful. But this incident highlighted the same issue, a lack of consideration for the cultural and spiritual significances of these places. Guides need to set the tone for their groups, especially in places like Asakusa, which hold deep cultural and historical meaning. Using a speaker not only disrupts the peace, but can also give tourists the wrong impression about what's appropriate in those spaces. I understand that not all tour guides in Japan are Japanese, and they may not have lived in Japan long enough to fully grasp the nuances of the culture. That's completely understandable. It's not about expecting everyone to know everything. But this is where the responsibility lies within the tour companies. They should be doing at least a bare minimum to research and educate every single tour guide about basic cultural etiquette. If you know what temples and shrines represent in Japanese culture, you wouldn't behave the way I've seen some groups behave. It's common sense, just as you wouldn't act these ways in a church or a mosque. These sacred places deserve respect no matter where you are in the world. I think that tour guides play a crucial role in shaping how visitors experience Japan's cultural sites. They are the bridge between the cultures, and they should be setting an example. It's not realistic to expect every tourist to know about Japanese customs, but a good guide can educate their group on basic manners, being quiet and respectful, especially in sacred places. If the guide is loud and disruptive, what message does that send to the group? I've seen firsthand how respectful tourists can be. My viewers and customers on my own tours often worry that they might accidentally offend or do something wrong. They care, and I know there are countless others who genuinely want to experience Japan while honoring its traditions. But when a small group of visitors behave disrespectfully, it creates lasting impressions that lead to stricter rules and eventually leading to Japanese locals disliking tourists as a whole. It's a vicious cycle that I hope we can prevent. Overtourism isn't just about overcrowding, it's how tourism is managed. Large tour companies have the power to create meaningful experiences while protecting Japan's cultural heritage. But that requires effort, educating visitors, setting examples, and ensuring that the beauty and peace of places like Matsushima and Asakusa are preserved for generations to come. That's why, as a Japanese tour guide running my own tour company, I focus on sharing my culture with respect and care. If I hire any tour guide, they need to deeply understand the culture, and I will do my best to educate them. On my private tours, I make it a priority to help my customers understand and honor Japanese traditions. Because respectful tourism isn't just better for locals, it's also a more enriching experience for visitors. I've also made the decision to only offer private tours, as I believe large group tours often cause the problem that the locals dislike. It's my way of ensuring my tours to contribute to preserving the beauty and significance of Japan's incredible destinations. I know similar over-tourism issues are happening around the world. Europe, for instance, has been struggling with this in many cities. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Have you experienced over-tourism with your travels? How do you think we can combat it? Let me know in the comments. I love sharing Japan to the world, but we need to do it responsibly. I know I'm a part of the problem because I do share about Japan. But let's all work together to protect these incredible places for the future generations to enjoy. I know this is a bit of a different video from my usual videos, but I thought it's a very important issue to address. Thanks for watching until the very end, and if you found this video useful or informative, please don't forget to give it the thumbs up because it really supports my channel, and subscribe to see more future videos about Japanese foods and culture. Also, don't forget to let me know your thoughts in the comments. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!